Hi everyone, welcome to lesson 6 of Scratch Animation Programming. Your starter today is based on the work you were looking at last week to do with broadcasting. So what I would like you to do is write down in your jotter or your worksheet, whatever you're working on, the answer to the following questions. If a broadcast of message dance is set out to the following 3 sprites, I want you to write down what they would do in return to receiving this message. So what would the ballet dancer do when she receives the message dance? What would the man do when he receives the message dance, and what would the break dancer do when he receives the message dance? I would suggest you pause the video and spend a little bit of time thinking about this before you move on with the rest of the lesson. Okay, today's lesson is all about debugging. It will be good if you can do the following 3 things by the end of the lesson. First of all, you need to understand what debugging is, what that term actually means. You need to understand why logical debugging is really important, and you're hopefully going to be able to debug your program successfully. Okay, first of all, where did the term debugging come from? You'll be interested to know that the term debugging actually came from the first ever computer system that was broken. The computing scientists that were working on the computer system couldn't work out what was wrong with it until they opened up the actual computer box, and it turned out there was a bug inside the computer stuck to the motherboard. Now, more often than not nowadays, that's not really the problem that's happened to the computer, but what is important is that we still use the term to describe when there's something wrong with either a computer or a computer system. Today what we're going to do is talk about debugging in Scratch. So when we have an error with our program, how do we find out how to fix it? And these are my 3 general tips for finding errors in Scratch. Number 1, the best thing to do is to play your program and to check the current behaviour of your sprite. Are they moving wrong? Are they not looking right? What is wrong with them? Once you've worked out what's wrong, you have to find the particular set of instructions that match this behaviour. For example, if the sound was wrong, you're looking for the pink sound blocks, or if the movement is wrong, you're looking for the blue motion blocks. Lastly, once you've found the set of blocks, you need to read through them step by step in order to see if the instructions are in the right order, wrong order, or if you've maybe missed something out or put in a wrong number. That usually helps you fix your Scratch program. Okay, let's have a couple of examples, or let's look at a couple of examples. Here we want to imagine we've got 2 sprites, the cat sprite and the dog sprite, and each of them have a number of different bits of script connected to them, which could be under any of the following categories we've been working with over the last few weeks. On the left, we've got 4 different errors, and your task is to look at each error and decide whether you would check the cat script or the dog script and what colour blocks you would be looking for to try and fix the error. Number 1 is the cat is not changing costume when he walks. Okay, and the question is, would you check the cat scripts or the dog scripts, and which colour blocks would you be looking for? Okay, the answer is you would be looking at the cat scripts because it's the cat that's not changing costume, and the colour blocks you would be looking for would be the purple looks blocks, because that is really what you're focusing on when the costumes aren't working correctly, is how the character is looking. Okay, number 2, the dog's bark noise isn't working. So this time, which sprite would you look at, and what type of scripts would you be looking for? The answer is you would be looking at the dog scripts this time, and the type of blocks you would be looking for are the pink sound blocks, because it's a sound bark noise that isn't working correctly. Okay, number 3, this cat is walking to the wrong place on the screen. Which sprite and what? Okay, this time the answer is you're looking at the cat sprite again, but you're looking for the blue motion blocks because he's in the wrong place on the screen, which means that the coordinates that he's working with aren't working correctly probably. So it might be a go-to script or a move position. And lastly, the dog is not doing anything at all. This one's quite a tricky one. Okay, the answer is it's the dog script you'd be looking for, but it's probably the events. It's most likely the trigger or the broadcast isn't working correctly, or it isn't picking up the right command for the code to actually work, rather than there not being any code, or there could be no code there at all. Okay, hopefully you got most of those right, and if you did, it will make your task today a little bit easier. Okay, today's lesson is the Walkabout task, and you can see from this picture here, it's probably the most complicated program we have created so far. Okay, now what's important about it is that I'm going to show you what the program should look like, but at the end, your program won't be exactly the same, and your task will be to fix the program to get it working correctly. Okay, I'm going to show you once through what the program looks like, and then the second time through, I'll do a little bit of narration and point out some important facts. So here's round one. Okay, now as you can see, it's a really simple animation, okay? And I'm aware that you can't hear the sound effects that I can hear at the same time. So let me talk you through what happens. First of all, when you press the green flag, the dog moves to inside the house. He walks, he stops, and when he stops to think, you hear a barking noise happen. He then continues to walk off the page of the house and then appears on the left-hand side of the screen on the outside. Okay, continues to walk. When he stops and says something, which is I feel sick, he also makes the bark noise and his colour changes before he spins round. The last thing that happens is when he spins round, effectively falling over or not feeling well, a scream noise happens. So there's 3 sound effects that also happen in there, okay? A bark each time he thinks or talks, and then the scream noise as he turns round, okay? And you have to go and use your worksheet, which is quite a lot there, okay? Put some on your dog sprite, some on your background, and then try and get it to look like my animation. Now you see it quite clearly says that your program will not work perfectly. There will be an issue or two in there that you will have to fix to try and get it to look just like mine. And that is today's main challenge. Okay. Let's move on with the plenary then. So what we've got is a description. The cat should look like he is walking to the right hand side of the screen when the walk message is sent, but he just kind of slides like he's moonwalking. His legs don't move and he slides towards where he's meant to be. Okay, you've got his code there. When I receive walk, point in direction 90, next costume, and then repeat 10 times, move 10 steps and wait 0.2 seconds. And my question is, what is wrong with the code? And bonus points if you can write down how you would fix it. Okay, lastly, before we finish up, how successful do you think you've been today? Do you understand what debugging is? Do you understand why it's important logical debugging? So thinking about different colour blocks and what is wrong and how to fix that. And lastly, did you manage to debug your program successfully? Give yourself a score of 1 to 5 stars for each of the categories. And that's you. Okay, speak to you next week. Bye.